Hi guys, how are you? Assalamualaikum. My name is Farishas, and today I'm doing an interview with an AI tool called ChatGPT. Now it has a feature of voice mode. I don't know you can see or not, but in chat box there it is at the right side. So you can talk to her and you can choose your own voice that you want. So let's start without wasting any time. By the way, if you want to check out this AI tool, the link is in the description. You can check out. It's loading. Hey ChatGPT, how are you? Hey ChatGPT, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about you?
I am also fine. So ChatGPT, I want to today talk about human respiratory and circulatory system. Are you ready?
Absolutely. The human respiratory and circulatory systems are fascinating topics. Where would you like to start?
Okay, I want to start with what is actually the respiratory system is.
The respiratory system is responsible for taking in oxygen and expelling carbon dioxide. It includes organs like the lungs, trachea, and diaphragm. Its main function is to provide oxygen to the blood and remove waste gases.
Okay, thank you. So, what about
You're
breathing? What is the main work of respiratory? What is the main work of breathing in respiratory system? And please also tell me the correct pronunciation of this word respiratory system.
The main function of breathing in the respiratory system is to facilitate gas exchange. Inhaling brings oxygen into the lungs, and exhaling removes carbon dioxide. This process helps maintain the body's oxygen and carbon dioxide levels. As for pronunciation, it's pronounced respiratory system.
Okay, so yep. What is respiration actually happens and what's the process?
Respiration is the process by which cells produce energy. It involves taking in oxygen and using it to break down food molecules, releasing carbon dioxide and water as byproducts. This process primarily happens in the mitochondria of cells. It provides the energy necessary for all cellular activities.
Okay, ChatGPT. So, yep. So please tell me, with an example that how respiration actually happens and everything in respiration, which happens with an example.
Sure, let's use the example of how your body uses glucose during respiration. 1. Glycolysis. In the cell cytoplasm, glucose, a sugar, is broken down into pyruvate, producing a small amount of energy, ATP. 2. Krebs cycle. In the mitochondria, pyruvate is further broken down, releasing carbon dioxide and generating energy carriers, NADH, FADH2. 3. Electron transport chain. These energy carriers move through the mitochondrial membrane, creating ATP, energy, and water by combining with oxygen. This entire process helps cells obtain the energy they need to function.
Okay, thank you. So
You're
ChatGPT,
welcome.
can you
Yes?
tell me that what is ATP stands for? I know that ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. So what is the actually work ATP? How actually works in our body?
ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate, and it's often called the energy currency of the cell. It stores and transfers energy within cells. When a cell needs energy, ATP is broken down into ADP, the adenosine diphosphate, and an inorganic phosphate, releasing energy that can be used for cellular processes like muscle contraction, nerve impulse propagation, and chemical synthesis.
Okay, thank you. So, can you please tell me that what are the types of respiration?
Sure. There are two main types of respiration. One, aerobic respiration. This type requires oxygen and produces a large amount of energy. It occurs in three stages: glycolysis, the Krebs cycle, and the electron transport chain. It's the primary method used by most organisms. Two, anaerobic respiration. This type doesn't require oxygen and produces less energy. It's used by some bacteria and in muscle cells during intense exercise. There are different forms like lactic acid fermentation and alcoholic fermentation. Both types are essential for different organisms and situations.
Okay, thank you. So, can you please tell me that, yep, how many aerobic respirations, how many, during aerobic respirations, how many ATPs are produced?
During aerobic respiration, a single molecule of glucose can produce up to 36 to 38 molecules of ATP. This includes the ATP generated from glycolysis, the Krebs cycle, and the electron transport chain.
Okay, so what is actually Krebs cycle is and how it works in our body?
The Krebs cycle, also known as the citric acid cycle, is a key part of aerobic respiration that occurs in the mitochondria. It processes acetyl-CoA, derived from carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, into carbon dioxide. This cycle produces high-energy molecules like NADH and FADH2, which are used in the electron transport chain to generate ATP. Essentially, the Krebs cycle is crucial for extracting energy from nutrients.
Okay, so what is the actually work of how glycolysis work in our body and what's that? And please tell me that what is the work of pyruvate in pyruvate molecules in glycolysis?
Glycolysis is the first step in cellular respiration, occurring in the cytoplasm. It breaks down one molecule of glucose into two molecules of pyruvate, producing a small amount of ATP and NADH. Pyruvate is a crucial molecule. In aerobic respiration, pyruvate enters the mitochondria, where it's converted into acetyl-CoA, which then enters the Krebs cycle. In anaerobic respiration, pyruvate can be converted into lactic acid or ethanol, depending on the organism. Overall, glycolysis is vital for energy production, especially when oxygen is limited.
Okay, thank you. So, thank you so much. So, can you please tell me that how the respiration works in a fuel and how it utilizes oxygen, and what's the next process?
In a human, respiration involves multiple steps to utilize oxygen and produce energy. 1. Inhalation. Oxygen is brought into the lungs and diffuses into the bloodstream. 2. Transport binds to hemoglobin in red blood cells and is transported to tissues. 3. Cellular respiration. In cells, oxygen is used in the mitochondria during aerobic respiration to convert glucose into ATP. This involves glycolysis, the Krebs cycle, and the electron transport chain. 4. Exhalation. Carbon dioxide, a byproduct, is transported back to the lungs and expelled. This continuous process ensures cells get the oxygen they need to produce energy efficiently.
Okay, thank you. So,
You're welcome. If you have any more questions or need more details, just let me know.
yep. So, can you please tell me that how energy made that how C2 and CH bonds work and how CO2, what's that? So, please explain that too.
In cellular respiration, glucose is broken down to produce energy, and the bonds between carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen atoms are rearranged. Here's how it works. 1. Glucose breakdown. During glycolysis, glucose, C6H12O6, is split into two pyruvate molecules. Energy release. bonds in glucose are broken, releasing energy stored in chemical bonds. 3. CO2 formation. In the Krebs cycle, the remaining carbon atoms from glucose combine with oxygen to form carbon dioxide, CO2, which is then exhaled. 4. Water formation. Electrons and protons from glucose combine with oxygen to form water, H2O, in the electron transport chain. Essentially, oxygen helps harvest energy from glucose and is turned into water and carbon dioxide.
Okay, thank you. So can you please tell me that what is actually pyruvate is and how it works in our body?
Pyruvate is a key intermediate in metabolism formed at the end of glycolysis when glucose is split. In the body, pyruvate serves several functions. 1. Aerobic respiration. Pyruvate is transported into the mitochondria where it's converted into acetyl-CoA, entering the Krebs cycle to produce more energy. 2. Anaerobic conditions. If oxygen is scarce, pyruvate is converted into lactate in humans or ethanol in yeast through fermentation. 3. Biosynthesis. Pyruvate can also be a starting point for synthesizing various biomolecules. Overall, pyruvate is crucial in linking glycolysis to further energy production pathways.
Okay, thank you. So, yep. So, what is actually?
You're welcome. Feel free to ask anything else whenever you're ready.
Can you please explain this all with illustrations and images?
I can't show images directly, but I can describe it in detail. Would you like a detailed step-by-step description of the processes, or do you have any specific part you'd like to know more about?
Yep.
All right, let's start with a step-by-step description of glycolysis and the Krebs cycle. Glycolysis. 1. Location. Occurs in the cytoplasm. 2. Steps. Glucose, a 6-carbon molecule, is phosphorylated and split into 2 3-carbon molecules of pyruvate. This process generates the net gain of 2 ATP and 2 NADH molecules. Krebs cycle. 1. Location. Takes place in the mitochondrial matrix. 2. Steps. Pyruvate is converted into acetyl-CoA, which enters the cycle. Acetyl-CoA combines with a 4-carbon molecule to form citric acid. Through a series of reactions, citric acid is broken down, releasing CO2, ATP, NADH, and FADH2. Electron transport chain. Location. Inner mitochondrial membrane. Steps. NADH and FADH2 donate electrons, which move through protein complexes. This creates a proton gradient, driving the synthesis of ATP. Oxygen acts as the final electron acceptor, forming water. These processes together ensure efficient energy production in cells. If you have any specific questions about any part, just let me know.
No. Can you please tell me that some different ways that how our body produces energy and what's the process of that?
Certainly. The body produces energy through several processes. 1. Aerobic respiration. This is the primary method, involving glycolysis, the Krebs cycle, and the electron transport chain. It uses oxygen to convert glucose into ATP, producing the most energy. 2. Anaerobic respiration. When oxygen is low, cells use glycolysis followed by fermentation. This process is less efficient but allows for quick bursts of energy, like during intense exercise. 3. Fat metabolism. When glucose is scarce, the body breaks down fats into fatty acids and glycerol. Fatty acids undergo beta oxidation to form acetyl-CoA, entering the Krebs cycle for energy production. 4. Protein metabolism. In extreme cases, the body can break down proteins into amino acids. These amino acids can be converted into glucose or intermediates that enter the Krebs cycle. These processes ensure the body can generate energy from various sources as needed.
Okay, so
If you have any other questions,
what is the meaning of
I'm
this
sorry,
sentence?
but you've
Please
hit
tell
the
me.
monthly limit for advanced voice. You can switch to standard now to keep chatting.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay, can you hear me? Guys, it's
What's up?
Okay, so please can you tell me that what is the meaning of this sentence? The food glucose which we eat is oxidized in the presence of oxygen at cellular level.
Sure. This sentence means that the glucose in the food we eat undergoes a chemical reaction inside our cells. So in this reaction, glucose combines with oxygen from breathing and is oxidized, meaning it breaks down. This process releases energy, which our cells use to perform various functions. It's a key part of cellular respiration.
Okay, thank you. So, yeah, what is
You're
lactic
welcome. So, what's
acid?
on your mind?
What is lactic acid?
Ah, what would you like to add as your postscript?
I am saying that what is lactic acid?
Lactic acid is a substance produced in your muscles during intense exercise when there's not enough oxygen for your cells to carry out aerobic respiration. Instead, they switch to anaerobic respiration, breaking down glucose without oxygen. This process generates energy quickly, but also produces lactic acid as a byproduct, which can cause muscle fatigue or soreness.
Okay, so please tell me that during
Sure, what do you want to
respiration,
know?
during aerobic respiration, how many molecules
Miss what? What's happening?
how many molecules of ATP are released during anaerobic respiration?
During anaerobic respiration, only 2 molecules of ATP are produced per molecule of glucose. This is because the process stops after glycolysis, which doesn't use oxygen and yields much less energy compared to aerobic respiration.
Okay, so what is the relation between respiratory and circulatory system?
The respiratory and circulatory systems work together to deliver oxygen to the body and remove carbon dioxide. Here's how they're connected. One, respiratory system brings oxygen into the lungs and transfers it to the blood. Two, circulatory system. The heart pumps oxygen-rich blood from the lungs to the rest of the body. At the same time, it carries carbon dioxide from the body back to the lungs for exhalation. Together, they ensure your cells get the oxygen they need and waste gases are removed efficiently.
Okay, thank you. So why the human bodies are so complex and their cells are so far away from the air?
That's a great question. Human bodies are complex because they're designed to perform countless tasks and adapt to different environments. This complexity allows us to move, think, heal, and survive in a variety of conditions. Cells are far from the air because of our multicellular structure. To protect vital organs, we have layers like skin, muscles, and tissues. The circulatory and respiratory systems solve this by efficiently transporting oxygen from the air to even the farthest cells in the body through blood. This way, every cell gets the oxygen it needs, no matter how deep or far it is.
Okay, so why our body needs a proper systems for bringing the air inside the body?
Our body needs a proper system for bringing air inside, primarily because cells need oxygen to produce energy. Oxygen is required for a process called cellular respiration, where glucose is broken down to produce ATP, energy. Without enough oxygen, cells can't make enough energy to function properly. The respiratory system, including the lungs and airways, is specifically designed to bring in oxygen and remove carbon dioxide, a waste product. Without this system, oxygen would not reach all our cells and carbon dioxide would build up, both of which could harm the body. The circulatory system then carries the oxygen from the lungs to all parts of the body.
Okay, so in a normal human being, the rate of breathing is how much?
The average reading speed for a normal human being is around 200 to 300 words per minute, WPM, for comprehension. This can vary based on the person's familiarity with the material, their focus, and how fast they read. Some people may read faster for familiar or simple material, while others might read slower for complex or new information.
Okay, so why our body needs oxygen?
Our body needs oxygen because it's essential for cellular respiration, the process through which our cells produce energy. Oxygen helps break down glucose sugar in the mitochondria of cells, which generates ATP, adenosine triphosphate, the energy currency our body uses to perform all functions like moving muscles, thinking, and even just breathing. Without oxygen, our cells wouldn't be able to generate enough energy to keep us alive.
Okay, so what is cytoplasm and mitochondria?
The cytoplasm is a jelly like substance that fills the cell. It surrounds and supports all the cell's organelles, like the nucleus and mitochondria. It also allows movement of molecules within the cell and helps in processes like nutrient transport and chemical reactions. The mitochondria are known as the powerhouses of the cell. They are responsible for producing energy in the form of ATP through cellular respiration. Mitochondria take in nutrients and, using oxygen, convert them into energy that the cell can use to perform its functions.
Okay, so yep. Thank you so much for
It
giving
seems like
me
you were about to ask
the
something
time.
else.
Thank you so much for giving
What's on your
me
mind?
the time. And my interview ends now. So thank you so much for being here. And
You're very welcome. It was great helping you with your interview. If you ever need anything else, feel free to reach out. Have a wonderful day.
have a wonderful day too. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed this interview and we know everything, almost everything about that interview. And if you want to talk with this AI, you can simply go search chatgpt and open that the latest model, and after that, just sign in and you can use the advanced model of voice mode. And if you want to talk another AI like this AI, you can talk to Annie. The Call Annie, as you know that if you are watching my interviews, you know that we also use Call Annie for interviews. So that is also a great tool you can talk with. And I'll see you again with another interview, another questions, another topic. Until then, take care.